Welcome guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be ranking F1 YouTubers. Obviously this has been a bit of a tumultuous time with Foul 76 and many different things coming out on F1, so I thought I'd give everyone a light-hearted post. I've tried to keep the genre of F1 YouTuber pretty slender. As you can see, they're all similar types of YouTubers. I've thrown in the Yano Opmir and the Quadrant in there. But other than that, I guess you could say they're pretty similar. My rating system is essentially, it's S to F, well, more or less. But at the top, you have Senna, which is, top of the top, GOAT status. Then you have Vettel, which is not quite the greatest, but on its day, it is phenomenal. Really solid result. Then you have K-Mag in the middle, very solid driver. Maybe can put some bangers out and get to Vettel status. Maybe can do what he's doing now and not perform to the best, but on average, he's all right. Then you have Guan Yu Zhou. Guan Yu Zhou, I would say, is essentially is like Guan Yu Zhou. I think he's not that great in the sense that, could you see like 5 to 7 years them becoming like a Ferrari driver or them being at the top of F1 YouTube? Maybe not. But at the same time, right now, they're doing a decent job sometimes. Like maybe they probably could be better in some ways. And then you have Mazepin. You're wondering, how did this person get clout? Are they an industry plant? So on and so forth. I don't have that many different channels here. Obviously, I could have put more, but we're going to get into the video. Starting off with Sky Sports F1. Now, me personally, I'm mainly talking about Any Driven Monday and Ted's Notebook. Ted's Notebook, I would put in Vettel or maybe even Senna, to be honest. The more I think about it, the more it's Senna. But Any Driven Monday and stuff like that, and some of the times when they're commentating, talking about the sport, it kind of sounds a little dry. It sounds like one commentator or one presenter says, this driver is so great. And then everyone goes, And you know what? They are even better in this way. And they're just piling on the praise with none of the real qualms that fans really want to know. They don't really talk like humans. They talk like people with a gun to their head. But I guess you could say that this is not their fault because they maybe can't express their true feelings about a matter. Take Foul 76 right now. I'm gonna call it Foul 76. The whole debacle against Christian Horner. I'm sure they have their own personal views of this, but they can't air them because of legal reasons and that's their job. So I'm gonna put them in a cool K-Mag. Any Driven Monday and things like that, drag it down to like a Zhou. But Ted Kravitz and Martin Brundle are really holding F1. They're dragging it by the horns to better places. Next, we have Josh Ravel. If you guys don't know about Josh Ravel, what? Josh Ravel is one of the greatest YouTubers on F1 that I've seen. He doesn't have the most subscribers on this tier list, but personally for me, he is like top 3 in terms of my favorite YouTubers to watch. I don't watch every single one of his videos. I'm not like a fanboy, but I don't think I've ever watched a Josh Ravel video and been disappointed in the slightest. His videos are such high quality. The mix between jokes and facts, it is truly, I would put this in Senna. Honestly, Senna. And to follow that off, you have another strong contender. You have Aldas. Now, Aldas, I mean, his content, objectively, Aldas makes great content. He covers a lot of different things that F1 fans want to know. He has a great personality. The way he makes his videos is, the production on his videos feels really good. And he has his own distinct signature that okay, this is Aldas's video. For that reason, but he just isn't, for me personally, he just isn't on Josh Ravel's level. But I would put him at a very high Vettel. I think if he continued just a little bit longer, I would feel the same way. Obviously, this is all my opinion. Big disclaimer, this is all my opinion. But I do think that he just needs a little bit more time, and he's gonna be up there. Next, you have The Race. Now, The Race, for those of you who don't know, is essentially like a news channel, or I treat it like a news channel, where they cover different things in the sport, and they essentially keep me or keep you up to date if you keep in touch with F1. I think they're really solid. They're better than a lot of other news type F1 channels in that they're a lot less faff, and they have short videos, really straight to the point. The quality of the videos feels really concise. Sometimes you can be out of the loop in F1, and it feels like The Race has done their research to keep everyone in the know. I would say it's lacking a little bit in personality, but at the same time, I think The Race, for most people, is a very vital part of F1. So I'm gonna put them. Are they better than Aldas? That's a good question. Okay. How does this look? I don't know. Okay, no, Aldas is better. Aldas is better than The Race. WTF1. Okay, WTF1. If this was like 3-4 years ago, they would have been in center. But as we know, they did Will and Tommy dirty. With Matt and Tommy, sorry. They did Matt and Tommy dirty. I'm thinking of someone else. And so they have fallen off. That is just subjective. They've fallen off real hard. I can't remember the last time I ever watched a WTF1 video. And since, Tommy left, I've been watching P1 essentially. I've been watching P1 instead of WTF1, just because I feel like the soul of the channel was sucked out when they left. They were the channel, and so without them, I don't know how they thought they were going to continue. But yeah, it's not a complete Mazepin because they still have certain level of quality, but they're definitely not what they used to be. So I'm going to put it in Joe. Then you have the Pit Stop podcast. Guys, let's not sugarcoat this. Let's all be honest. How the heck did they get followers? Nobody knows. They have good production quality. They have great production quality, but that is it. that is it. They know very little about F1. It seems like they don't want to know much about F1. They're too concerned with making a podcast that looks good rather than is actually informative for fans. Some of the interviews they've got, I don't know how they managed to get them with F1 drivers, with Crofty. I don't know how they managed to get them. I think the most embarrassing thing is they didn't know that Sebastian Vettel drove for Red Bull. Like, how is that even possible? This wasn't that long ago, really. And okay, they're gonna give me a brain hemorrhage thinking about this. They're in Mazepin. I don't know how they got their followers. Hopefully they get better, but for now, because of their knowledge, I mean, the only thing really going for them is the production quality. So yeah. Then you have Tomo F1. Okay, Tomo isn't my favorite YouTuber, but I will say this: out of all of the YouTubers on this list, I watch Tomo the most because he covers a wide range of topics. One, he's from Romford, which I find absolutely insane. Tomo has done something I personally believe is absolutely incredible. He's managed to bridge the gap between F1 YouTuber and actual getting into the sports with Sky F1 and things like that. You'd see him on podcasts talking to Karun, and it just makes you wonder, wow, like an influencer from Romford actually got this far. Very admirable. As for his actual content, I do like some of his chinwags. Some, not all. Some of them can be kind of drab, to be honest, but some of them bangers, some of them clangers. So I would say that he's definitely up there. He's definitely up there. Okay, he's not K-Mag. He's better than The Race. And is he better than Aldas? Do you know what? Because he's managed to bridge that gap, I do think Tomo is going to be here for a long time. And Tomo, I think he obviously is one of the bigger YouTubers, but I think Tomo eventually will become probably the biggest F1 YouTuber. Like, he just is. He has such a likable personality. His graphics are great. He knows a lot about F1, but he doesn't come across as someone who's really overbearing and cocky. You know, I can do that sometimes. I can come across as cocky, that I know stuff about F1, but I don't know anything. So it makes sense to me that Tomo would stick around for a long time. And to be honest, I'm happy for it. All aboard the Tomo F1 train. Is he better than Josh Ravel? Okay, wait, that's actually a good question. I would say they make slightly different content. When it comes to like things like lives, tier lists, like we're doing now, and stuff like that, Tomo is better. But when it's more like getting to know the history of the sport, the drivers, and just talking regular commentary on F1, I'd say that Josh Ravel is better. Do you know what? I'm gonna put Josh Ravel behind him simply because that Tomo uploads more, and to keep that level of quality when you upload more is harder. So I'm gonna put him in front. Then you have perspective. He, I think, would be closer akin to what Josh Ravel posts. He is a very solid channel. I won't lie and say that he's a channel that I used to dislike perspective. I don't know, some of his F1 takes, they just made me go, nah, this guy knows nothing about F1. But after, you know, continuously watching him, one, he does know quite a bit about F1, but two, he has very good videos. And I find myself sometimes just chilling and watching his videos. They feel very laid back, like you're talking to one of your friends about F1, just relaxing. And it's the type of video that it doesn't need to be that high quality in terms of like the editing. Obviously his editing and graphics are really good, but it doesn't need to be. It feels like his personality really does carry the show. And I think that's the main theme here, is how well can you manage to blend your personality into your content. And so for that reason, I guess I would put him probably the weakest of the pair. I think I'll probably watch the race more, and Aldas is definitely better in my opinion, but he definitely is very solid Vettel, and he can put some bangers out there. Next, you have FP Will. Now, I have mixed feelings on this, because on the one hand, this is a solid channel. Like, he has a absolutely solid channel. But on the other hand, I just think channels like The Race and maybe just different channels do things better than him. Overall, he has a very solid channel, but there are just different, I would go to different channels to watch different aspects. Instead of watching his news recaps, I would watch something along the lines of The Race. You know, instead of watching different controversies on drivers and stuff, I'd watch something from Tomo or Aldas or maybe Josh Ravel. Essentially, he isn't bad by any means, but they're just other YouTubers that are doing things better than him. I think if he focused on one piece of content or one type of content or one sub-genre in F1, he would be able to probably really elevate that. But for now, he's gone into the, the master of none? What was the phrase? Jack of all trades, but the master of none. But he is like, to say he's not a master, I mean, he's really good. He's like jack of all trades, but really good at most of them, but just not the best at any, really. So I guess master of none. But yeah, I do think he's better than Sky there. Definitely better than Sky. Next, you have Quadrant. I understand many people are Lando Norris fans, and many people are fans of just the whole team in general. And I think that their team is pretty good. They do a lot of decent collabs. I know they did one with Angry Ginger recently, and it's a good way to talk to like F1 drivers. Obviously Lando's there, so you can kind of get to see not only behind the scenes of like F1 drivers interacting with YouTubers, but you can kind of see essentially the normal life of what it means to be an F1 driver. On the other hand, you get a lot of like sim stuff, to do a lot of sim racing and yada yada yada. Personally, I just don't think I'm in the demographic for this channel. I can understand why people like this channel if that is your demographic, if that's their demographic, but I just think I'm a bit too old to kind of latch on to some of the comedy and some of the personality that they show. For that reason, I'm gonna put them, if I'm being completely honest, I mean, they've got more life than WTF1, so I'm gonna put them in the end of K-Mag. I'm gonna put them in the end of K-Mag. Next, you have Yano Opmir. Okay, this is gonna spice things up a little bit, because I'm trying to think where Yano would fit here, because Yano does make very solid content. I don't even play the F1 game like religiously or anything like that, or trying to be really quick at the game, but I can watch Yano's videos just for the simple fact, one, this guy is lightning quick on an F1 sim, and two, he's just a funny, good guy. Like, Yano is the type of guy you can sit around and talk with for ages making jokes. Or he's the type of guy that when you were younger, that you would play with on PlayStation for hours till like 2 a.m. just cracking the worst. Like, he is the quintessential, nah man, I'm just chilling type of guy. And I think that is probably what is taking him further than even his driving ability, because at the end of the day, there are many fast esports drivers, but none of them in fact have managed to grip an audience like Yano has. I would say that he is better than Quadrant. Is he better than Sky Sports? I would rather watch Ted's Notebook than Yano, though. I do watch a lot of Ted's Notebook, so I'm gonna put him there. He's very solid, but like, if it wasn't for Ted's Notebook, I should really put Ted's Notebook somewhere else, because Ted's Notebook is carrying Sky Sports. Honestly, it's carrying Sky Sports. I feel like I should, okay, just for the record, I'm gonna put Sky Sports, I'm gonna demote Sky Sports. I'm gonna demote Sky Sports to Joe. And I'm gonna put him above WTF1. I think this is more fair. I'm gonna put him at the top of K-Mag. I'm gonna put, no. FP Will is very good. He's very good at a lot of things. So I'm gonna put him in the middle, just because FP Will does more different. He does a lot more different things. It covers a lot more of a ground in F1, and he does it to a great standard. So if Yano did more things other than, I mean, obviously he does do some different videos every now and again, but generally speaking, he's a racing sim channel. So I would just say that he sits there. But at the same time, Yano is like, in terms of racing sim channels go, he is like the top of the, I don't think I can think of someone who is like the top. Just because Yano is basically the top of his sub niche, I'm gonna put him in head actually. Yeah, just because Yano is the head of his sub niche. Then you have YellIStenner. This channel slaps. Like, it really does slap. Honestly, it slaps. I would say that it doesn't make me, because obviously there's not really much personality involved. He does essentially analysis of races. He clips them up and he shows you the throttle, the brake, and how, you know, each driver's doing in the corner, and he basically analyzes it. So I think as an information channel, and this goes for a lot of information channels, like, you know, those channels that show graphics of qualifying, but almost like a 3D model, so you can see what different drivers take different lines. I would say that those channels, along with his channel, they all kind of slap. I didn't want to include too many of his type of channel, but I thought he should be included just because his channel slaps. I would put him, I would put him above Quadrant. I'd put him above Quadrant. He does slap from time to time. I don't watch every upload, and not every upload does slap, but sometimes he can dip into that Vettel category. And now we have probably one of the more controversial ones, RPM. This guy has an occult fan base. He burst onto the scene like 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago really, and he has taken F1 YouTube by storm. His editing style, his personality are out of the park. Forget F1 knowledge. Nobody tunes into RPM or Rocket Powered Mohawk to hear about F1 knowledge. They tune in to hear him call Lance Stroll a window licker, and to make some of the funniest memes you will see on YouTube by F1. He is rightfully so, in my opinion, absolutely obliterated most other YouTubers in the space. And to be honest with you, whenever he posts, it's always bangers. Like, it's always bangers. I would say that maybe he could dial back it a little bit. He has dialed it back a little bit. Some of his jokes he can go, maybe a bit over the edge, some would say. But overall, very solid channel. I would think he can do more in terms of uploading. To be fair, yeah, he can do more in terms of uploading. He doesn't really cover things that don't happen to Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin, essentially the top drivers of every team. So maybe he could cover more, but I guess it's a good choice because it seems to be working, and people generally do like to tune into the top drivers more. So I can understand why he wouldn't want to talk more about the lesser drivers, the drivers further back on the grid. But if he did talk about more drivers further back on the grid, I think he would have a bit more of just a whole channel. But he has race recaps, he has just meme reviews, he gives his own opinion, he does a lot, and for that reason he's going to, I'd put him at the end of Vettel. No, I'm joking. he goes in center, but like the question is he better than, actually no, he's better than Josh Ravel. Josh Ravel is one of my favorite, but like it's true, like he kind of is better. Is he better than Tomo? Ooh, this is tough. Okay, I'm gonna say no just because Tomo is leading the charge. Tomo isn't my favorite YouTuber, but I can genuinely say this guy is leading the charge for F1 YouTube. So yeah, okay, yeah. Ooh, okay. That is, man, I don't know how I feel about that, but I can live with that. Okay, then you have P1. This is, okay, from what I've said about WTF1, you're gonna think this is instant Senna, or there's no way this can be in K-Mag, but there's actually like a thinking for it. In my opinion, although WTF1 needed them, they also kind of, in a sense, did need WTF1. WTF1 was their thing. It was their brainchild. And I don't think they've been able to manage to recapture in the exact same way or go to the exact same heights they might have been able to with WTF1. So I would probably not put them, if they were with WTF1 back in the WTF1 days, I did say I'd put them in Senna, but I guess now I would probably put them, either at the end. I'm trying to think if Yano's, I'm going to put them at the top of K-Mag. But this isn't like a knock to them, because it's more so out of their control. They can't control the fact of what happened with WTF1, from what I know. It wasn't really their thing to control. So if it wasn't for that, them as an entity would be in Senna. But due to like, obviously like the dips in the performance and the content, they just changed slightly. But to be fair, they have been a bit more outspoken and a bit more honest in terms of F1 takes since leaving WTF1. Sometimes it can feel a bit, okay, I'm going to put them at the end of Vettel. Because I do think, although there have been some negatives to leaving WTF1, there has also been some positives, and they do feel even closer to their audience now than ever. So I'm going to put them in Vettel. And lastly, you have myself. You have the new kid on the block. I'm going to say this. Obviously, you have my amazing F1 takes. You have my amazing stickman graphics. Now, but seriously, I'm a bit new to the game. I like some other YouTubers. I try and take, from what I like, not the pit stop. I mean, maybe from probably their production, but that's it. But I think, where would I put myself? It wouldn't be in Senna, very obvious. It wouldn't be in Vettel. I'm thinking lowest of Zhou. I don't want to put myself in Mazepin, but yeah, if I had a massive following and my content was the exact same as it was now, maybe I would be thinking, am I a Mazepin? But because of the fact that I'm like so new, it's like, I've been around for like a month and a half, 2 months. I'm gonna put myself like at the end here. But realistically, there's a big gap between me and WTF1. So probably like here. I'm probably like here. So that's it. This is my tier list. At the top, you have Tomo, and at the bottom, you have the Pit Stop podcast. If you guys have any YouTubers that I forgot, because there were a lot of YouTubers in here, or you disagree with this, which I'm sure you will, and I'm sure you're gonna let me know, but if you do disagree with this, make sure to tell me in the comment section below. I'm really interested to see where you guys would have ranked each other. I have some people here that I'm not sure if everyone would have put Tomo as the best F1 YouTuber, but I genuinely think he is, and maybe some people think the Pit Stop podcast gets a lot of hate. I'm not hating, but like, they aren't the best, to be honest with you. Keep it a buck. So yeah, like, subscribe, and tune in for more videos. Peace.